It seemed to me that feminism needed to deny the gains that women had so obviously made, the tremendous gains, in order to continue to imagine themselves as victims, in order to, for political ends. And I just thought that I began to think, actually, I began to wonder what it must be like to be a young man at university. That was the thing, really, sitting through course after course after course, whether he was taking an English course or a history course or a philosophy course or some sort of sociology, whatever, and just hearing about how the whole history of humanity had been a history of men oppressing women, and how even now, supposedly, he should feel bad about his privileges.
I am a white heterosexual male, so I personally feel that I enjoy a lot of the privilege that a lot of people in this room, in this country, in this world do not.
Both on a conscious and subconscious level that I have benefited from being a white male.
I'm white, I'm male, straight, I'm temporarily able-bodied, and I'm socially acceptable body size, so I just like to check my privilege first.
Hearing over and over again about how they're responsible for all the bad things in the world, that if there were fewer men or they were just less manly or something, that somehow we wouldn't have any more wars and everybody would live abundant, peaceful lives, and women were more, more collectivist oriented, and women are more egalitarian. All these things, demonstrably not true if anyone has ever spent time in a women's organization or lived in with a bunch of women. Even the claims around rape, that women never lie about rape and all of that. Well, of course women lie, and women are as faulty as human beings as men are, and women abuse power, and women are violent, and all of these other things. And so it just seemed to me that the worldview of feminism was both false and damaging to men.
There are males who are guilt-ridden, living with guilt, being ashamed of being a male is a tragic way to live. And women, along with the assistance of society, had instilled in these males this pervasive, deep-rooted guilt about who they are. It's sad. They will never be able to function in a healthy way. They will never be able to function sexually in a healthy way. It's going to affect any relationship, or basically make it impossible for them to sustain or to even start a relationship, due to the fact that they've been made to hate themselves for being male. Why will these guilt-ridden, self-hating males not be able to function sexually in any relationship with a woman? Precisely because they are going to be unable to be dominant over a woman within the sex act. They will literally not be able to fuck a woman. And eventually they will be rejected and discarded by the female. They have been hampered and suppressed in functioning in a healthy, masculine, normal, male pattern. They cease to function as males because of their guilt and their self-hatred. Their male sexuality has been deprived. They no longer function as males. They will no longer be able to function within any relationship as the male. The stupid woman will choose them, but the stupid woman will soon realize that she doesn't have a man. She is a handicapped individual. These are abused males that were nurtured and reared in an abusive, highly abusive situation where the deep-rooted prejudices of damaged females had suppressed true male nature. So yes, domination is critical for a male to be able to execute successfully the sex act, or to take it even further, to be good sexual performer for any female. If you remove the domination of the male over the female within the sex act, you will remove his ability to function within that sex act. It is not easy to fuck a woman. It is not easy. It's a very deep-rooted emotional act, even for the male. And if he is hampered in any way, the male is sensitive in that area. And if he's impeded in any way, he will not be able to function within the sex act. And if you remove his masculinity, if you make him ashamed and guilt-ridden about his masculinity, you will remove his sexuality as the male. These are castrated males. These have been castrated from the date of their birth every single day. And when they come to adulthood, they're no longer males. They cannot ever function as males. So this is what happens when you allow a Marxist political movement and the people involved with that who force it upon you through guilt, despicable orientation, to hijack the world which you grew up in and is now unrecognizable. They preyed on you, women. They preyed on you, women. They preyed on your insecurities, inferiority, your fears. They preyed on that, and you fell for it because you thought you could profit from it. Well, you didn't profit from it. What you did is you lost. You lost a lot. And what do you got now? You got nothing. You're single. You didn't realize your female objectives, your biological objectives, the priorities that you have. You didn't realize any of that. You're living in a great big void. Because they took away masculinity, and at the same time, if they do that, if masculinity disappears or is abolished or is made to be relinquished, you will also simultaneously lose your femininity and your female prerogatives that go along with it. If men fail to be male, you will not be female. You will be some kind of a degenerate mutation of what once was femininity. If you remove masculinity from the male will not be able to function. The male will not be able to function, most importantly, sexually, in a sexual way. Therefore, it will hinder and suppress reproduction and possibly the gratification that comes from the coupling of a man and a woman in a relationship, in a functional relationship. The end result being the loss of cohesion of the family unit, something that keeps society together, instead of a whole bunch of thousands, tens of thousands, millions of single individuals will never keep a society together. You have to have a cohesion. And those who know this are intent on destroying any amount of that cohesion that used to be. And they know why. They need it gone. Instead, what you have is you have this alienation between males and females all over the world, all over the Western world. So, what basically women did is you have allowed those at the very top to destroy and then change cultural values from the top, from within. At the very top, you will find those with privilege, people that have a voice, and the people that led you into this darkness. Their agents are compelling voices that they know will appeal to you. Those people were and are agents of the ruling class, the agents of the supremacists, the true supremacists, the true racists, the infiltrators among us. Those who have no country, no loyalties, no religion, except for the religion of Marxism. Lesbians. So women have allowed lesbians to define who you are and who you're going to be as women. The key to feminism is that women have allowed from the very beginning lesbians to set their agenda, to define what femininity is. Can you imagine lesbians defining femininity? Lesbians are not women. You have to start with that, understanding that lesbians are not women. Some may look like women. Some don't look like women at all. Just fine. Find what they are, lesbians. If you're against homosexuality, you better blame God for that one. Nobody else. That's not the point I'm trying to make. It's just that you cannot let rabbits define what coyotes are or what they ought to be. The same way as homosexual gays do not define men. Where have they ever tried to define men? They're not even interested in doing so. And males would never even conceive of it. It would be absurd. Yet women have always allowed lesbians to define what femininity is. Now that is insane. And women just wanted to use the situation for their own gain. They said, we don't care who speaks for us. We don't care what they say. We don't care where they lead us. As long as we gain from it. That's the way to do it. Typical female behavior. No principles whatsoever. No principles. No brains. No depth in realization. Disinterest. For one thing, lesbians don't want what women want. Lesbians hate what women want. Lesbians don't need what women need. Lesbians hate femininity. They don't have the same biology. They don't have the same hormones. They don't have the same physiological structure as women do. Lesbians do not have female prerogatives, female aspirations, female drives. They have none of it. And you have allowed lesbians to lead you. And where have they led you? They liberated you. They liberated you from what? They liberated you from completeness as a woman. And they're in your ear constantly, incessantly, perpetually, day and night, every day, through every medium, through every educational institution. They're in your face. They're in your mind. Now, it'll be your homework to find out who these lesbians are and what these lesbians are. Leaders of the feminist movement. Everything was systematically organized to reach, to achieve a specific purpose, which it has. That's why you're single. And what group do they belong to? And who they are agents of. I know it sounds crazy conspiracy, but we have seen these past 2 years where we thought were conspiracies becoming all too very real, frighteningly real. We found out that conspiracies was actually the truth and reality. We've only been made to think that they were conspiracies. And that's part of the deception, part of the propaganda, the Marxist propaganda, because Marxism is absolute propaganda. That's how it functions. That's what drives it. That's what fuels it. Propaganda. Lesbians know how stupid women are. Lesbians know how to manipulate women. They know what your fears are. They promised you everything. And you were deceived. You were betrayed. You were corrupted, bastardized, compromised. You were ruined, possibly ruined for life. Because just look around right now, girls. Just look around, and you know better than I that you don't have much to choose from, do you? I mean, even if you find something that's passable as a male partner, which will last more than 1 or 2 nights, if you find such a male, you will quickly see that that male is not going to give you the commitment that you're looking for. Yeah, you're going to get males, but you're never going to get the male that you want. So you'll end up with nothing. Because we all know you don't settle, right? No, you don't settle. You've got all these choices. And you don't have choices. You know why? Because you've fallen for Marxism. That's what it is. It's all it is. It's Marxism. It's always Marxism. The social engineers studied you. And many decades ago, they got you to smoke. You became smokers. In the Western world, women, they got you to smoke. Because they preyed on your psyche. They took control of your mind. They manipulated you in terms of your insecurities, your selfishness, your solipsism, your lack of empathy, your ungratefulness, your lack of loyalty, and your dishonesty, and your inability to love. It was very easy for them to get you. And they destroyed the men who would normally care for you, slave for you. They're not around anymore, or they're not willing, are they? So what are you left with? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All you can be is a whore. Or you can turn lesbian as your guiding icons. Now, these lesbian feminists who led you down this path were not just regular lesbians. They were Jewish lesbians. And there's quite a few of those around. Jewish lesbians. Nothing rare about that one. No. Just for your own information as to who you were following. You can follow the Marxist ideology to the fullest. You can become like they are. So people wanted to bring down Western civilization, and they did it. We're right in the middle of it right now. It's going on right now. It's active. It's ongoing. We're in the thrust of it right now. Bringing down a Western civilization from within. And just to show you how clever Jews are, in case you didn't realize it, for this genocide of whites, there's no need for any concentration camps. There's no need for gas chambers, or as Jews put it, ovens. No need for any of it. It's a much better design. Apparently the German design is not cracked up to what it's supposed to be. Boy, were they ever sloppy. Everybody has experienced a tremendous decline in traditional values. Now, you may scoff at traditional values and traditionalism, and it's not perfect, and you don't have to participate if you really find it detestable. But don't criticize it. Don't mock it. Because you gotta always look at the alternative. What is the alternative? Marxist hell, loneliness, suffering, wretchedness, emptiness, struggle, poverty, being destitute in a world where only the 1% will remain the 1%. There's going to be no middle class. There is no middle class. There's going to be the 1% and pretty much the 99% who have to live a life of terror and suppression and fear, loneliness and hopelessness. And that goes for all the colors: blacks, whites, yellows, reds, browns. We're all in it together. The war is not between us, because we're all going to have the same fate. There's only room for one ruling class, and it's a tribe which has always been insular. You ain't invited. In fact, you're going to get a boot on your face. You're going to be squished like a bug, because that's what you deserve. Never forget who is superior. That's what happens when you choose Marxism. When you choose Marxism for frivolous, very temporary little gains to satisfy your selfishness and self-centeredness. One little gain and a loss of your future, a loss of generations, the loss of your liberty. You become a slave. They own everything you have. You own nothing. It's designed that way. They're the ruling class. Very few. 3 million of them in a country of 330 million. You see the magnitude of what I'm telling you? It's huge. The implications are big. Their power is tremendous. And if you oppose it, you're dead. Simple as that. You disappear, you get taken away. Susceptibility to Marxism is a tremendous pathology for the human being. Women in general are predisposed to being attracted to Marxism. And the Marxist masters know the language to speak. Women love Marxism far more than they love men. Women are aroused by Marxism much more than they are by men. It's a visceral reaction for the woman. It's a emotional fulfillment to live within Marxism, because no man can give her the security which Marxism promises. And this is why women can be very easily influenced, manipulated by those who are masters at indoctrination and female psychology. So if you open your eyes, you will realize that there's a lot more there than you suspect, and you can deny it, and you can dismiss it, and you can mock it. But you're suffering right now. I know you're suffering. We all are. We're suffering right now from the effects of Marxism, and women are particularly susceptible to the false promises, to the allurement, to the temptation, to the seduction of Marxism. Flattery that Marxism offers you. It's like a sociopath. It's like a date with a sociopath who absolutely deceives you and then kicks you out the car door. Marxism has turned rich against poor, male against female, whites against coloreds. Nobody's going to come out a winner. Nobody's going to come out a winner. You've already lost your men. There's no men. There's very few men for you to choose from. There's so many singles. Or there's so many divorces. You get offended, don't you? If somebody even suggests that you need a man, you get offended at that, don't you? That's because you've been led to believe that all you need is Marxism. That's your religion, and that's your ideology. Anything else is unacceptable. Well, you're an idiot. It's exactly where they want you to be. It's exactly how they brainwashed you. You're offended. You're offended to be a woman. You're offended to be female. You're offended by femininity. They've made men denounce their masculinity, and they made women denounce their femininity. They won. They destroyed society in the process. And that's why there's so many lonely people everywhere. White people are not reproducing. And it was designed that way. It was a tremendous feat of social engineering. Concerted effort, systematically done to you over the last few decades. And they've triumphed. The world has been changed. Not completely yet, but they're almost there. And a lot of you were Bernie Sanders supporters. You're willing to sell the world for a promise of free tuition. You're willing to give up your liberty and be treated like dogs and pigs, regardless of what color you may be. It really doesn't matter. You're willing to be trash, to be starved, to be murdered in concentration camps for the promise of a little job and free tuition. Not a guarantee, just a promise. It was designed because they hate you, absolutely hate you. They hate you along with your Jesus. They hate your Jesus. They want you gone so they can continue their evil doings, unimpeded, undiscovered, and unexposed. They've taken your femininity away. That the same way that they've taken masculinity away. They've removed the essence of who we are. The essence of our individuality they have removed. And you willingly gave it up for some stupid notions of empowerment, equality, and fairness. You willingly, you elected to give yourself to them so that they can ravage you and leave you as nothing but a rag doll with no soul. Well, now you're equal. How does it feel? Does it feel good? You're equal to everyone else? Does that feel good? Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. We're all equal. Wow. Do you want to be equal? Do you want everybody to be equal? Why? Feels good, doesn't it? Knowing that everyone's equal to everyone else. Oh, you love it. You love it. You sold your soul for equality. Equality. What a beautiful word. Equality. Equality. It's orgasmic to a Marxist. Oh, wait a minute. You're not equal to the ruling class. You better fucking not try that one. It'll pound you into the ground. You're gone. Don't you dare. Well, you'll realize it later. You're really gonna be surprised about equality. All that for to satisfy your stupid delusions of insecurity or sense of inferiority that you may have, irrational sense of inferiority that you have deep inside of you, and to gain a little confirmation of empowerment and a little validation and a little absolution for your sins and your dirt and your mistakes that you may have committed in the past, because you know very well you have a past. And for any bit of absolution for your dirt, you've sold your soul. They studied you, they studied your psychology, they studied your mind, and they wanted to get right inside of your mind. And the way to do that, the easiest, is to uncover your feelings of guilt. See, these are people that function by a completely different moral compass. More specifically, a lack of morality. That's why they, throughout history, they were able to achieve what they've achieved. The most despicable acts, the most destructive forces the world had ever seen. And that's what moves the world. Agitation. The damage caused through amorality. And they know you psychologically. That's what they study. That's the professions, that's the sectors of life. The realm that they're in is mind control. Things like entertainment, pop culture, politics, education, academia. Let's not forget the news media. They're all vehicles by which they can get directly into your mind. And what they have to do is one thing: inculcate you with guilt. They know that guilt is already inside of you. And all they have to do is expose it, bring it to the forefront. Make you look in the mirror and see how really guilty you are. And once they make you believe how guilty you are, and they inculcate your mind with your own guilt, be it real or not, they can move you. They can have access to your soul. They can make you give up your soul, relinquish your soul to them. And that is where their domination becomes real. If they can dominate your mind, they can dominate your actions. They can dominate everything that you stand for. You will submit. They prey directly upon your human decency. And they take advantage of your human decency because they don't have any themselves. They're immune to all of this. But they know that you're not. Your legacy, everything which was handed down to you by your predecessors, by your culture, your unique culture, your unique ethnicity, your race, they want you to hate all that. They want you to hate yourself. They want you to hate your masculinity. They want you to hate your whiteness. They want you to hate your religion. Hate where you came from. Hate everybody in your group. Instill divisions between everyone in your group. Because then they can take you wherever they want to take you. And they have their agents everywhere around you. Just turn on any media, and you will be bombarded by their Marxist propaganda. Incessantly. Your past is ingrained within Western Christian culture. And your ancestors have created great things based on the morality by which you were governed. But they were not. They know what your religion was and how guilt was a central edict of that religion. All of this is non-existent in their realm, in their ideology. Marxism removes morality and gives you license to be the worst that you can ever be. Under various false guises of benevolence to deceive the moral, and it's celebrated. Without you even realizing it, your virtues are turned upside down. What your heritage tells you is immoral has now become moral. You have been exonerated from immorality and guilt. That's what Marxism gives you, and they give it to you all day long, every day. They pardon you from your own sins. First, they make you feel guilty. They bring to the surface your unbearable feelings of guilt regarding any issue of your life. Or they indoctrinate you with guilt, even if you are not guilty. And then they offer to give you absolution for your sins against humanity. And they laugh in the shadows. They just totally mock your inferiority. And they're right. You are inferior. Because you're willingly gonna go along. Because no matter how much of an atheist you think you are, you're still governed by morality. Such a useless construct. But they're not. They're not suppressed in any way. They don't believe in an afterlife. Everything is for the now. Get more now. Get more now. Do everything now. Regardless of its implications. It's power. The biggest obstacle towards power is morality. And they're not going to have any of that. You ain't going to rule the world with morality on your shoulders. No. You'll be a slave. We'll let the slaves have morality. But what an idiot you are to believe it all. Because they know you're weak. They're strong. They're very strong. They're highly intelligent. And they use it to be very devious. And they prey on your weakness. They prey on your decency. Because you don't come from their world. And they know you're handicapped. They know you're vulnerable. They know you're predisposed to feelings of guilt because you're good. You've got a goodness within you. And they want you to reject everything that you're about. Isn't this how the devil works? The devil is after your soul. Wants to own you, wants to enslave you. Isn't this exactly what they're doing? Just become aware. Don't just look, but also see what's around you. I know. It's scary. It's absolutely terrifying when you think about it. Absolutely terrifying what's going on. In this last 2 years or so, they totally gave up on being inconspicuous. They have become brazen beyond anything that we have ever expected, because they have become desperate. They were this fucking close to owning the world. And somebody threw a fucking monkey wrench. Somebody in a Hungarian phrase, somebody spit in their soup. And they're fucking pissed. And they've become unhinged. And they're going out of their mind. They're so vindictive. What's plan B? Hate to even think of it. What's their plan B? See how Marxism is a religion? It's a very powerful religion. Marxism is the religion of the secular Jew. And they want you to join their cult so they can enslave you. Because they're supremacists. The true supremacists are Jewish supremacists. Always have been. And when you saw men being destroyed and their masculinity taken away, you rejoiced. You thought that empowered you. Whatever they took away from men, you thought they would give to you. And what are you going to do with it? You're going to be the man? All right. You became men. What now? You're going to grow a dick? You're going to fuck yourself with the dick? With your own dick? You see? Traditionalism may be old-fashioned, but especially for women, it works. It works. You'll have babies. You'll be a mom. But because you colluded and you allowed to be conquered, not by a man, but by Marxists, you end up with nothing. Do you know who the Marxists are? Do you know who devised everything which has altered your world? Or it was a world that you have never actually even known. Irreversibly. Do you know who they are? Well, for you to be able to protect yourself, have any type of control, any little control over your life, and in order to change course from marching down the cliff, a very high cliff, falling to your demise, you're going to have to first identify those who orchestrated and who designed the architects of cultural Marxism. And they're all around you. Nobody can deny it. They're ubiquitous in your world. You follow them, you admire them, you listen to them, you want to join them, you want to be like them. And most likely, if you have a job, you work for them. Can you identify them? You must identify them. You're going to have to identify them. For your own self-preservation. Because if you don't, you will not be able to save yourself or even know what's going on and what's being done to you.
Hey fellow white guys,
It's about to be a new year.
And there's a few things we think you could do a little bit better in 2017.
First off, try to recognize that America was never great for anyone who wasn't a white guy.
You know, I'm not sure who owns MTV or this disgusting race-baiting YouTube channel, but their New Year's resolution should be to shut down your shitty channel and stop being fucking racist cunts.
Wait a minute. He doesn't know who owns MTV. It's time for an education. Guess whose fingerprints are all over it? Don't you recognize the style? Now, if you get good at this, you're going to recognize the style instantly, as I do, because it just repeats over and over again. There's only one orientation, there's only one goal that these people have had. Jews only have one goal for you, or for the world, and that's Marxism.
Every time I start to gain my will to live again, I see something that makes me want to die again. This time it was a video from the horrible MTV Brawlist channel called Trans Men Explain Male Privilege.
Jew Girl serves a very important purpose: to get into the minds of the young people and to make you feel like shit for who you are.
If you don't think male privilege exists, you are wrong.
Gender bias is often ignored because it seems invisible and subjective to those who benefit from it.
She was placed on YouTube for a specific purpose: to teach you goyams what you should be doing. She's got millions of subscribers, fake or not, doesn't matter. She has big money and big power behind her to get into your mind.
But trans men have experienced both sides of the gender-divided society, so I'm gonna let them explain male privilege in their own words.
Male privilege is the bullshit idea that men are better than anybody else.
That's why we have a female running for president.
And while I was walking, I realized that I had no worry in the world about being talked.
Well, a Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas for all, and a Happy New Year. Talk to you soon. What are you gonna do, laugh or cry? Let's do both.